10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Game over.
Welcome to Game Over Montreal. That was it was a game. We're on a 2-game win streak for Game Over because Game Over Toronto debuted last night to a lot of fanfare, and the Leafs obviously won big. The Montreal Canadiens keeping the ball rolling by winning tonight. I'm going to bring in my guests right now, Alice Moran and Laura Saba. How are you, ladies? My pleasure to have you both back. I think this one will be as off the rails as last time, most likely. Because, hey, it's the second last one. Everybody tell us what you're drinking in the chat. Can you keep up with Alice is the question. Oh my goodness. Apparently the audio is not working for the guests, so I gotta fix that. Oh my god. You'd think that I'm the newbie because I'm the one that with technical difficulties, but it should be working now. If you guys can just test it out here.
Testing. Y'all, can you hear us?
Yes, it's coming through now. Don't worry, we didn't say anything interesting yet. Alice has been drinking since 2. That's the main takeaway.
Nobody knows if that's a bit or not. Nobody knows if that's a joke or not now.
It's true. I could just be lying. You don't know.
Yeah, make it up. Make up lies about me. I love it.
That's what we're going to do the rest of the show is make up the wildest lie. We'll do that like 2 truths and 1 lie, but like you don't know who's saying the truth. It could be Alice lying. It could be one of us has a truth. Do we do that?
I mean, none of us have any truths.
Everything's just made up.
All lies.
I'm crazy. 2 truths and a lie. Oops, all lies.
We're all deep fakes here.
Oh my god. All right, so the Montreal Canadiens just needed to not get as many points as the Arizona Coyotes to finish last and secure the best chances of getting that first overall pick. The fact is, they still need 1 more point than the Coyotes to end this season, the last game of the year. It's against the Florida Panthers. Even if the Panthers are resting a bunch of players, I don't think they're going to take them to overtime. I'm assuming the Coyotes lose their next game too. They're tied right now. The Coyotes have all the tiebreakers. The tank people are freaking out because all of a sudden, after a year of, frankly, to put it mildly, sucking shit, Jeff Petrie and Mike Hoffman showed up tonight and were like, hey, we're all stars. We're going to score for once. Now that you guys don't need us to do it.
If you don't think I've seen Jeff Petrie show up to a tank, you don't know my life.
It's like the one night you needed them to be bad and they can't get anything, and you feel bad because they keep trying. They literally can't get anything right. It's so bad.
Oh, sweet Jeff. Sweet Jeff just wants to do his best, and he knows what it's like to be in a tank. He's like, what if I still have dreams? No, Jeff, you're not allowed.
No dreams for you.
You know what? I'll put a positive spin on it. The fact that Petrie is having like this little bit of a late season renaissance, if the Canadiens choose to trade him in the offseason, I think it'll make it a lot easier because teams around the league can see, hey, Jeff Petrie is not this broken shell of a human that we saw for the first 50 games this year where, you know, his fingers didn't heal properly from the playoffs and he hated his coach and his family was, you know, in the States away from him the whole time and his wife was on Instagram supporting the trucker convoy and it was a mess. It was a mess.
It was a pit of despair.
Petrie.
That's a tough year.
It is a tough year. We've all had a tough year and Jeff Petrie is included in that.
Yes.
I just want nice things for him.
Of course.
I like that he scored twice tonight while I was watching. It's like when you run into an ex and they look great, and you're like, "Oh man, glad it's working out for you." I'm sorry. I was so shitty to you. I'm sorry. It was such a rough time for both of us. I wish things had been different, you know, but we can't go back. Can't go back, Jeff.
You know, Kenny Holland trade for Jeff Petrie in the offseason.
No, Kenny Holland, don't do that because you guys will get too much. Ken shouldn't make any trades.
No decisions. No decisions.
It would be kind of great if the Canadiens got more from Edmonton to trade Petrie back there than Edmonton got from Montreal to trade Petrie here for his entire prime.
Say kind of great, like it's not absolutely gonna happen.
Kind of great.
Just describing things that will happen in a matter of days.
God. Yeah, there's a bunch of people being like, can we go back and trade Jeff Petrie now? Listen, you know what? If you can't be a little bit happy for Jeff Petrie going absolutely snipe twice in one game after the year that he's had, let me break it down for you a little bit. For the fans that really want the tank. The difference between first and second in terms of chances of getting that first overall pick is 5%. It's really not that much. The main difference is if you finish, like I say first last. If you finish 32nd, you can only pick as far down as third. And if you finish
I would just like to say you're welcome for breaking the draft.
All the new rules because of the Oilers.
Yeah. We tanked so hard for so long that they're like, this can't be the system of like Edmonton gets the first overall, and then a couple years later when they're dead inside, gives them randomly to another team.
This is true. I mean,
I feel like it was pretty fair, but everyone disagreed.
I mean, it took a while for Edmonton to hit on one. You know, like Hull was great. Nuge is fine. Yak should have been a lot better. Then, when it takes till you're fourth to get the franchise. Of my life, of being so sure that Yaks was going to save us. Oh my God. It was,
and then being like, oh, no.
The overtime Selly, right? Where he did
that is like one of my favorite, like, that is one of the only bright spots of that entire decade of sadness. But hey, and then like, hey, congratulations on getting through. You know, you guys were in a Stanley Cup final. We were in a Stanley Cup final. And then 10 years of sad. So congratulations for getting through year one. That's good. 9 years to go, babies.
Only. Oh, no. Pass the scotch.
Here you go.
Cheers. I decided I wasn't going to get drunk tonight because it was a weeknight, and now I'm kind of regretting it because I'm staring down the barrel of 9 years of suck.
Yeah, and then it doesn't really get that much better.
Couple of first round exits.
Still go to the second round more often than the Leafs, so you're like, at least we could talk shit about these fucks. Those mangy fucks.
Poor Leafs.
You know, after the season you guys had, aren't you excited that in a week you're going to get to watch the Leafs just throw up all over their own dicks in playoffs?
I was talking about that earlier this week on my other show. I was saying, like, this is actually the best time of the year, not just for teams who make the playoffs, but for fans of teams who didn't make the playoffs, because the misery that you just experienced over 82 games of watching your team suck, 15 other teams' fan bases are about to experience that in a very compressed period. Because only one group gets to be happy every year. Everyone else, it sucks.
It's just a misery. It's so sad. Last year, it was the first time I ever hung out with Cam Lewis from Oilers Nation. Was the last game of the Oilers playoffs, and I straight up got so drunk that I fell asleep until overtime. And he had to wake me up, and he's like, "We're about to lose," and I was like, "Sick! What a cool first hang for us."
Oh man, I mean, and that brings it back to like looking back at the last time that the Oilers did something in the playoffs when they went out against Anaheim. Did that feel any better than losing?
No,
in the
it
first
doesn't
round?
feel better.
No.
And you know what? It's also like, I remember getting texts from friends being like, "Hey, Alice, I'm so sorry we got eliminated." Like, this is worse somehow. Like, the pity of everyone else is like, fuck you, man, your team didn't do shit. Wait, were you pitying me? Don't pity me. It was also from an ex-boyfriend was the worst one. He's like, "Oh man, this must be really hard for you." And I was like, you know what? Shut up.
It's really hard for me reading this text.
Don't talk to me. This is an excuse to text me at 2 a.m. How dare you?
The new you up. Sorry your team was eliminated.
You know what? I
He
can
works
see
in
trying to be
Toronto.
like, I might be able to console this person. Be like, "Hey, you want me to come over and make you feel better?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't want to be disappointed for 3 minutes.
Disappointed twice in one night.
Don't want it.
Yeah,
I don't need that. I have a womanizer. I don't need that.
At least the Oilers had the decency to drag it out for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they show up and it's not good, but it lasts a while. So at least maybe,
Yeah.
God. Oh Lord, my life's real sad, I guess, is what we're getting to here.
Yeah. There's a comment here. He's posted it a couple times. I have seen it. Jean-Paul Murray. Andrew, this summer you should revisit the Ice Level podcast recording from summer 2016 where you talked about the Bergevin regime and the Subban trade. Do you have anything specific that you remember that I said? Because I don't think I have access to those anymore. Those, like, that's 6 years ago, and it was on a SoundCloud. And as soon as you stop paying for SoundCloud, they just stop hosting your shit. So I didn't keep any of the raw files from Ice Level. If they exist at all, they're at TSN 690's like computer where Robin Flynn recorded them. So if you have anything specific that you'd like me to talk about from that, I will. But I will say that my opinion on the trade has not changed that much, and I still think that it was a pretty big disaster. So your fears about the direction the regime was heading. I mean,
at least you can
right.
take solace in it was the second worst trade of the day.
Yeah.
Second worst trade in the same hour.
Yeah.
Definitely true.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that it was going to be just the one trade. It was going to be Subban for Hall. And I remember after the Hall trade, I was like, see you Oilers idiots. You thought you were going to get Subban. He's not going anywhere. And then Kyprios was like, Subban traded. I was like, ugh. And then Bob McKenzie dunked on me on Twitter.
That's the worst part of the day.
It was. No, it was actually great. Because I was like making fun. I was during the season at some point, TSN was like over and over and over again talking about like trade rumors involving PK Subban. And I was like, I think TSN's just like putting this out there for ratings. And I guess Bob clocked that and waited like 6 months to crack me back. And then he immediately after he tweeted it, jumped into my DMs. He was like, hey, sorry, I just thought it was fair game. And I was like, 100% fair game, Bob. Just go for it.
I love when people are petty. I love messy bitches who love drama. This is amazing.
Pettiness, like honestly, and Andrew, you know, I am an extremely petty person. But that, like, I feel like that is like championship pettiness.
Oh, it was great.
That's
and
good.
The fact that it's Bob McKenzie who's like, you know, favoriting that tweet to save for later as if I have any influence whatsoever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame for the Bob Father. Yeah, Bob Father only dunks when he's going full posterizing. That's true, Scott. That's true. He doesn't do like a soft layup. He's gonna shatter the glass, and he did on me, and I appreciated it. And
I work so hard to not be actively mean to anybody on Twitter, but the amount, my drafts folder is full of some it's messy in there. It's messy and it's cruel and it's too far.
Apparently, I don't work that hard to not be mean to people, especially Ottawa Senators people.
Oh my God.
Because they're so easily rattled. My goodness.
And they don't get that you're doing it on purpose. They just get angry and they think you really, like, you care. That's the thing. It's like, they think he gives a shit about the Ottawa fucking Senators.
Man, Ottawa doesn't care about the Ottawa Senators. Come on, man.
Don't say that. They're going to jump in your mentions and they won't leave you alone.
But also, they are the one fan base that was gifted the most beautiful gift of all time of that 30 Rock sends Psych Up song, and they don't constantly use it. What's wrong with them? What 30 Rock gave you so many bits? The only bit they did better for hockey was that Bruins beat where everyone was named Sean. But the Ottawa Senators Psych Up song, I'm like, I cannot believe this wasn't wholly embraced. If that was an Oilers thing, I'd use it constantly.
Right?
Oh, how dare they not use that 30 Rock bit?
It's like the one time they were relevant. And they can't even take advantage of it.
They don't use the phrase make a hockey-loving face at Scotiabank Place constantly. You failed me, Ottawa. What's the point of you?
I mean, that's very Ottawa to just not get it.
I used to tour a show where I talked to the audience about sex, and I went into the audience and I'd ask people like what their favorite thing about me, and like most people would say like eyes or hair, But Ottawa, the guys were just like, you look educated. Or a guy was like, oh, you got like a slight overbite that makes you more feminine. Like just weird. Like, what are you saying, sir? Like everything they said, I was just like, no, you've ruined sex. I don't want to do the show anymore. This is canceled.
Sex is
Today
canceled.
is canceled, Ottawa.
Way to go,
Although
Ottawa.
disproportionately, the people I have dated have been from Ottawa, which is a problem.
We're going to ask questions about that later, but that kind of actually, it brings to light kind of, I've been trying to figure out why they all think that Thomas Chabot is hot. Now, Thomas Chabot is a fantastic defenseman, right?
Yes.
He is not hot. And then they put out a poll of like hot Ottawa senators. So then I went and I looked up each one of them in case I was misremembering. And there are 0 hot senators. There's like a couple of passable ones, like Forsberg maybe. But like,
are they hot in the moment though? Is it like, do they like celebrate in a way where you're like, ooh, I wasn't into you, but now I got a talent crush? Like, is there?
I don't know if I watched them enough to know, but I like was pouring through pictures yesterday and I was like, am I being gaslighted? Like, honestly, like, it's just like, what the hell? And there was like this huge debate and it was like, you know, Thomas Chabot is like, listen, he seems like a perfectly fantastic player. I don't see it. I don't see any of them being hot. And then there was like this whole like fierce debate about Brady Tkachuk. And I'm like, listen, there is a hot Tkachuk. It is not Brady.
Is it like when there's like a lack of option? Like, I don't know, like in the improv community, I am excessively attractive, but for a regular person, I'm very regular. But in improv, holy shit, out of control.
I wouldn't say that. I would say you're extremely hot.
In improv, everyone's a true dud. I say about all my friends and colleagues.
Everyone's got the Michael Scott thing going.
Yeah. You just got to be the most, like, you could just be the most attractive person in a room. So maybe that's what they're talking about. Is like, who's the hottest
It's
of
all
these
relative
people?
to Brady Tkachuk is what you're saying.
Yeah. Which is like, I want to say a low bar, but that seems mean. And also low doesn't seem low enough for me. So
okay. So here's the thing that happens is that you can like criticize their play or anything about them. And even if the criticism is true, you're going to get accused of bullying them. So right now there's a whole bunch of people getting ready to yell at us for bullying the Ottawa Senators for saying that
should we say some nice things about Ottawa?
No.
Sure.
Like, what if we all try to say one nice thing about Ottawa?
Okay, I've got one.
One nice Ottawa thing.
Go for it.
The El Camino Taco Bar. Great.
Okay.
I love that y'all go over the river to get messed up in Hull. I think like I know that y'all party and you want to party in the most messed up way for like a couple hours longer.
My nice thing is that my friend Steph lives there.
Yeah, those are our nice Ottawa compliments, baby.
We're not bullies.
Mine was Hull. My nice thing about Ottawa was Hull, so I don't know if it was quite.
Perhaps not as nice as it may have seemed. Okay, speaking of not nice things, I'm going to bring us back to the hockey game for a second. Well, not quite the hockey game, but before the hockey game. You know, we talk a lot, well, it has been a conversation over many years that the Canadiens do so many, like, opening ceremonies, right? And, like, Canadiens start time is always delayed because they're going to honor something every 2 games. And you also see people like Michael Farber talking about how like the Canadiens understand ceremony and they do it right. And obviously we had the Guy Lafleur thing in Montreal that was so amazing on Sunday. Then there's the New York Rangers tonight who honored Guy Lafleur and had a moment of silence that lasted 3 seconds. I have never seen something so ill thought out and shabby as that, and he played for them. That's for them. Thing.
It's like all the other, like even the Ottawa Senators. Oh, that's another nice thing we can say about the Ottawa Senators is that like they truly paid him enough of a tribute, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, you know, in arenas across the league, people were doing cheering or moments of silence or whatever, but like he didn't play for all of those teams. He did play for the New York Rangers, and Chris Kreider got more time than Guy Lafleur. Like Lafleur.
Every time. That's worse than when people say Claude is Claude.
Oh, I do that sometimes though.
I
I get
mean,
corrected on it, but I do sometimes, like, it's by default Claude Julien, Claude Giroux.
I truly love the way Americans pronounce Montreal when they're like, oh, the Montreal Canadiens. And you're, what happened in this sentence?
It's so true.
Where they got Mantry, I don't know, but it's so funny because they always say Montreal and they make fun of us for saying sorry, even though there's an O in that word, not an A. What are y'all talking about?
Montreal.
Oh, I love when the Jays, anytime the Jays play in Montreal, they're like, they're playing in Montreal this weekend. And you're like, oh, this is the worst. I can't listen to Blue Jays broadcast say Montreal one more time. It's too hard.
You'd think if it's Montreal, there'd be a whole lot more hotness here, but no.
I don't know. I would respect it if it was like they were trying to make it sound more French and they were trying to say like Montreal, but they were just like now, and it was like that. I would understand, but I just don't know where they got Mantry. I just don't know where it came from.
The whole Montreal Canadiens thing, they really struggle with. It's either Montreal or they also say like Montreal, and it's never Canadians, it's Canadiens. And nobody, English or French in Quebec, says Canadiens. It's not the way.
No, because it made it sound very feminine, unless they're talking about the defunct women's hockey
exactly.
team.
Yes.
Who should have, let's be real, they should have won the cup. If they had won over Calgary, that league wouldn't have folded. But Calgary is a cursed garbage city, and that's what happened.
You know, you're not wrong. Jaromir Jagr, ageless, perfect, dominant, goes to the Calgary Flames halfway through the season, retires.
Yeah.
There's something there.
A curse of a city, a curse of a nightmare town.
So, by the way, Game Over Calgary launches tomorrow.
SDPN.
For real though, right? For
It
real.
It does. And we're very excited to tell you the hosts.
Ever guest on their show. I refuse. Not that I've been asked, but I shan't and I short.
My God. Yeah, that's a good point in the comments. They have Dodger Toffoli now. He brings vibes. That's true.
It's true.
They have the
Dodger
whole
Toffoli.
No.
family.
And Cat. We gotta say,
The
and
Calgary
Cat is like,
Flames got mad when somebody wanted to hang out at a museum. They do not have vibes.
They also stole
No.
vaccines from children.
that too.
You remember that storyline?
Yes.
They jumped the line for the flu vaccine over kids. Which, frankly, I get it because they travel all the time, but it's just such a bad.
It's a
Headline.
bad look.
It's a horrible
Not-
look.
It's not good. I get it, but it's not good. You shouldn't have done that. Ugh.
Oh.
Calgary.
Claude Martin says.
Truly, the Odie to my Garfield.
Claude
Just
Martin
the way
says.
Ottawa is your Odie.
Yeah.
They're an Odie. That's the
Yeah.
nicest thing I can say about Ottawa. They're just an Odie.
I don't know. I feel like Ottawa's more of a normal. I want to mail them away.
To Abu Dhabi. That's
Exactly.
where Nermal goes.
Although, I feel like now that I know more about Abu Dhabi as an adult, I'm like, that's too nice of a place to send the Ottawa Senators.
The postage is so expensive. Why, Garfield? Why would you just mail them to Toledo?
Yeah, exactly. Albuquerque or something. I don't know. So Claude Martin says, "Hey Andrew, just letting you know I've watched all your game overs for Montreal, and I will watch the last one." Thank you, Claude. I really appreciate
That's
that
nice.
because in this hellacious season, if you've watched every single one of these, that means you've probably watched every single game, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thank you, and I'm sorry.
I honestly I sympathize so hard with sucking. It feels weird to not suck. And also now I'm watching the Jays and they don't suck. And for a very long time, my life was just a hellscape of sucking and everything was bad. And now I don't know what to do.
Do you have that thing where you're like, things are too good and I'm suspicious that something's wrong? Because that was me last year when in the Stanley Cup Finals. And then I was right, they lost.
Last night, earlier today, I was like, hey, you guys want to go to the Jays tomorrow night? And my friend was like, ooh, we're going to watch some Raptors. I'm like, oh yeah, the Raps. And I'm like, this is too much good. Something's horrible is gonna happen.
Well,
I'm
now
gonna hit
people are
by a
talking about the
bus.
Raptors like they're gonna reverse sweep for the first time because Philly's got some injuries and it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on right now in sports, just not here yet.
Maybe the curse will hit Toronto, so like your
That'd be
Oilers
great.
will escape
You know what?
it, and
But
it'll be a Toronto-centric curse.
You know what the worst thing is, though, Laura? I can't cheer for that now because we just launched a show there, and I need it to be successful. So I need
You
the Toronto.
traitor!
I need every
Our
Canadian.
friendship,
But if
our
you want something
10-year
to
friendship.
look, if you want something to be successful, it needs to be consistent. So I think the best thing for Gabe over Toronto is misery and sadness, the consistency of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
You raise a strong point, Alice.
Like
Raise a
they
strong
say
point.
that you got to niche down if you want to become popular on social media. And I think the niche of the Leafs is vomiting on your own dick, which you should do better. But then you just for some reason don't.
It's true. He says, Rock Smasher says Steve Dangle's most viewed videos are all big Leafs losses. True.
That is
It's
the
true.
brand. My grandmother is look. I don't want the in my heart. I love my grandmother so much. She's a massive Leafs fan. I don't want her to die sad. So I would be happy if the Leafs were okay. But every year they're not, and she gets so mad, and she screams about who messed up. And she starts the season being like, "I love Mitch Marner," and then in playoffs she's like, a lot of Scottish words you wouldn't understand about what a fuck up he is, and like. I don't want that for her. She's so old. She's so old. Why do they do this to her?
I absolutely love the Mitch Marner cycle of Leafs fans, where every year at the start of the year, they're mad at him for last year's playoffs because he didn't do anything. And then he starts the year and they're like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm falling back in love with Mitch Marner. You know, this year in the playoffs, he's going to do it. And then in like the last third of the year, they're like, you know what? Mitch Marner might be better than Austin Matthews. And then the playoffs start, and they're like, oh, I fucking hate Mitch Marner, that choking piece of shit. And then the next season, oh, I'm still mad at Mitch Marner over the last. You know what? I'm falling in love with Mitch Marner again. And oh, Mitch Marner, he's the playmaker. He makes Austin Matthews good every single year. It's amazing.
Dare I say, Mitch Marner is the Ross of Leafs.
What an
Because you're like,
insult.
maybe this time, and then he's Ross. And you're like, Rachel, you could do better. Oh, Ross is back. Why, Ross? But in a lot of ways, is the most compelling character because, there's a lot of arguments to be made for Ross. So I understand why people get back on board with Ross. But in the end, Rachel should have been with Joey. And you hate women if you don't agree. I'll say it.
Or anyone else, really. I was trying to think of all the guys she's dated, but like there are a couple of duds in there. Joey's probably the best one.
Joey is probably the only person who loved Rachel as is, wanted no changes, and Ross was the most like, how dare you have a job? How dare you have a male coworker?
Oh my God, I remember that.
That's so true.
It was really like their fight was she had a male coworker who she got along with. And I am saying that Mitch Marner is Ross. So.
For any Gen Zs watching, we're talking about Friends. It was a show back when people
Gen
watched
Zs
TV.
watch Friends. Gen
Do they?
Zs have all seen Friends.
Do they look at it and think that it's like super problematic because it's New York City and there's zero non-white people? Because it's pretty weird when you look back at it.
The politics of it. I just know they've all watched it, and I think they like the fashion. I would say the weird homophobia that it keeps coming back to is super intense. Weird. But also, I remember being like, it was the first time I ever saw lesbians on TV, so like that was pretty important for me as a kid.
Right, when Ross's wife leaves him for a girl, right?
Yeah, for Susan. Yeah. And then they get married, and they have fun hats at their wedding, and I was like, oh my God. If I continue down the path I'm on, I got to learn to wear hats. This is so difficult.
There's a hat. But here's the thing that I just thought about. It was like, is that why all of the shit that I threw out in the 90s is like back in fashion? Is because Gen Z is watching this? Like
Gen Z is watching Friends, and that's why it's all back.
That's why all the square-toed sandals are back.
Oh God, have you
The Steve
seen
Madden slippers that everybody had?
the like thin eyebrows filter that's gone around TikTok and how a bunch of women are like, maybe it's like, don't do it.
No,
Don't do
no,
it.
no. It will take
No.
you 70 years to grow that back.
Oh, to be young and so stupid and wearing a bucket hat.
The advantage of being the antithesis of style. I never had a bucket hat, but you know what I did have? One of those '98 Nagano Olympics backwards train conductor hat things. Like
That were
the
like
flat
those,
caps.
were them front ways. They look like a Super Mario cap.
Yeah, I had one of those. I won it at like a talent show or something in grade 6.
What was your
Score.
talent?
I don't even remember. I think I read like a short story because it's grade 6. And
You
I'm
wanna know
pretty
the
sure
moment I went-
I'm pretty sure the end of the short story was it was all a dream. I was real good, okay?
Okay.
I can't believe you're not a professional short story writer with
However-
twists like that.
Like in the New Yorker.
Hey, I grew up to be a writer.
This is true.
You did. I wish
Hey.
you ended more pieces with "It was all a dream." That's how you should end your wrap up of this half season
I should
of what happened last year. Last year's Stanley Cup playoff was all a
Was
dream.
all-
That's what I was gonna say. And then
It
they
was a
woke up
dream.
and Shea Weber was gone and Phil Deneau was an LA King and Carey Price ceased to exist for 74 games. It was all
That
a
is
dream.
honestly an accurate description for you guys of "It was all a dream."
Absolutely.
Oh my God. It all comes full circle. Amazing.
My favorite is if
Good.
you like take like a breakdown and do like a statistical analysis of like, let's say like Savard over the course of the year, and then at the end you put, and it was all a dream. Who was better under Ducharme and Martin? And it was all a dream.
God.
Andrew,
Bringing up the
did I get
Smirnoff
you?
Ice.
Yeah, I wanted to get you. Here you go. You got ice, baby.
Second time I ever got drunk was on Smirnoff Ice.
Are you
I mean,
serious?
I've been doing a lot of creative icings lately, and now that's all I have in my fridge from doing different bits with Smirnoff Ice. I'm like, I guess I gotta drink these or continue to do pranks. But it's really hard to come up with a lot of creative ways to hide a Smirnoff Ice.
Are they any good?
No, they're so
sugary.
sweet and terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so terrible. I can't waste things because I'm Scottish. But
Especially
like,
not
there's only
booze.
so many times you can like put a Smirnoff Ice in a cake and your friends like won't suspect that there's a Smirnoff Ice in there. But at this point, my friends know to not trust anything I put into their house. So what am I gonna do?
This is true. Like I've got tons of beers and stuff that like I'll like buy for whatever reason. I'll buy like a case of them or something, and then I'll try it and I'll hate it. So they'll just like sit in my fridge until somebody comes over and I can like pawn them off on people.
Oh,
Not me.
we
My
have-
fridge is too full, and I have to drink some of the weird stuff in there. And they're so weird. I have an alcoholic Brio in there. I don't know who brought that to my house.
That actually doesn't sound too bad. Regular
Laura-
Brio, no.
Laura,
but-
that is a cry for help if I've ever heard one. An alcoholic Brio.
I can't
is a
argue
cry
with
for
that.
help in a can.
Oh my
If
God.
you see someone drinking it, you need to say, "Hey, everyone's traumatized from the pandemic, but are you okay?"
Just hand them a card with the crisis line.
Yeah. And then you call and it's like somebody caught me drinking an alcoholic Brio. That's what I'm calling.
Like, oh my God, oh my God, let
Take you
me
to the ER.
let me fast track you to our elite service.
It was all a dream caused by an alcoholic Brio vendor. Oh,
God.
guys, what a fun season you guys have had, full of so many highs and lows, but mostly lows.
Mm,
I
Definitely.
think there might have been
mostly.
like 2 highs.
There was like right when St. Louis took over.
Right. And then there was like Carey Price coming back, although he's dead now. And then Cole Caulfield scoring 22 goals or 21 goals. Nick Suzuki hitting 20 and 60. Like those are the highlights. And then everything else was bad.
Pretty much.
I don't think you guys will have quite the dearth we had. I think you guys will bounce back faster due to a lack of true incompetence. But yeah, I think you guys will probably be better next year.
I think
That's the hope.
they'll be decent. Like, not as many things will go wrong. I think that's the main thing that will make them be better, right?
This is an all systems fail. It's kind of like when it was like, maybe we're going to be better. And then McDavid promptly got injured in his first season. And you're like, well, here we go.
That was the collarbone season, right?
Baby.
Yep,
All
the collarbone.
All the time. The Edmonton way.
Yeah. So Sarah says Suzuki's the youngest had with a 60-point season since 1988. That's really awesome, but also shows
really sad
how long the Canadiens have gone without a true like offensive star. You know, young kid. It's crazy how long they've gotten. They've had great defensemen, they've had great goalies, but they have failed consistently to develop forwards. So that's like the exciting thing about Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki is they actually are that good. It's something to build around. I feel like the advantage that Montreal has is it's not the like Hockey Canada brass running everything like in Edmonton. Like, that's how much of how much better would Edmonton be if they didn't have all of those old timers who think that like anything more complicated than plus minus is fake.
It feels like we're like it feels like you watch the movie Moneyball and Billy Bean comes out and was like, what if numbers? And everyone's like, fuck you, Billy. But at the end of the movie, they're like, hooray, numbers. But it feels like we're the one team that's like, no, analytics are bullshit. You should look at a player and just feel that they're good, like an avocado. That is how we are assessing talent, is like you going into a grocery store and just touching fruit and being like, is it ripe? And you don't know shit about dragon fruit. You're just going in and being like, I'm pretty sure I know what this is supposed to feel like.
Feels right.
That's how you end up with Mike Smith.
Oh,
this
but you know what? I know what? I feel like Mike Smith I can't talk too much shit because he's been great this month. He's like a weird, he's the kind of man who's like, I don't give a shit. But then when he has to, he's like, now I give a shit.
Ooh, Arizona just tied the game against Dallas 3-3. So if they get 1 point, the Canadiens can't finish above last place. How exciting. This is what we're cheering for.
Hey, man, I have been here. I was at the World Juniors with McDavid, and I was like, oh, we have to suck so much shit to get that kid. I don't want fucking Jack Eichel.
I mean, that proved true.
Yeah,
No offense to Jack Eichel, but like the gap between them at the time at the draft, it was like the gap between them might be
I remember articles going around being like, maybe the Oilers should take Eichel over McDavid. I was like, this is a psych out trick. You're not going to trick us. We know how to take a first round draft pick and squander them. Thank you. That's our one.
We don't need any help.
I wish
we got a beautiful gift if we keep getting first round draft picks, but it's a monkey's paw curse where it always fucking ruins our lives. Oh
man!
Being alive is a nightmare.
Looks like if it goes to OT between the Dallas Stars and the Coyotes, thanks to Rock Smasher, that also eliminates the Vegas Golden Knights.
All right,
honestly,
overtime.
It is so funny that Jack Eichel left for a team that he thought was 100% going to make playoff. Like, I don't want to wish the kid ill, but that's so funny.
It is incredible irony, and like, I wish we had some broadcast rights so that I could like put up in the corner or something the Arizona game so we could all react to it live.
Did I ever tell you about the movie my mom keeps asking me to write for her? Like, I legitimately have a project on the go, but my mom is not interested because she wants me to write a movie where she complains so much about the Buffalo Sabres that they make her the coach. And they have a video from like 3 years ago of her pitching it. And in it, she keeps talking about, this is aged poorly, about how Evander Kane is very hot.
Oh no.
But then I was like, where do you rank Jack Eichel? And she's really trying to say a nice thing. And she's like, I'm sure he's among the top 1,000 attractive players currently in the NHL. And I was like, that's not a good ranking. That's bad. That's very bad. But anyway, my mom really wants me to write Coach Mom, a movie where players are nice to refs, and the refs are like, you know what? Maybe you do get some penalties. Because you wrote us thank you notes after the game, and that made us feel good. This is my mom's true pitch, and I feel like the CBC might buy it.
I mean, if they can make like 25 Air Bud movies, and remember Most Valuable Primate? That was a hockey movie that actually got made. I'm sure Coach Mom can get made, and the players could have their really carefully planned, brown bag lunches with notes from Coach Mom to encourage them before the game.
It writes itself. The jokes are so stupid, but also I can't believe I'm going to say this twice in one day. I want you all to know I looked up what happened to Air Bud, and tragically Air Bud did die of cancer. They've said that twice in one day. How? Air Bud, yeah.
Rest in peace, Air Bud.
But no, my mom really wants me to write Coach Mom, a movie where she complains so hard that the Buffalo Sabres like, it couldn't be worse. And honestly, watching the Buffalo Sabres, I actually don't think my mom could do a worse job coaching them. I think she would make them baked goods, and she would say, I love you no matter what. And maybe some of them need that at this point.
Oh, they're trying to get us more off track in the chat now. Leon is asking, who is the hottest player in the NHL? We have to remove team affiliated biases here.
Oh.
Okay, who is like legitimately like pound for pound the sexiest, or whose energy makes me want to have sex with them the most? These are different questions.
Okay,
I think it's hottest.
Let's start the first one. Let's
Pound
do
for
the
pound?
first one. Yeah.
I mean, I might be biased here, but Leon Draisaitl is a snack. An absolute snack. Come on. There's a photo of him holding an owl where he's looking at the owl like, hey, girl. And I'm like, I won't be that fucking owl. Jesus Christ. Ugh. How can his name be dry when he gets you that wet? Come on.
A good friend of the show, Ian Boisvert, asks, remember when people thought Erik Karlsson was hot? That was weird. You know what?
No. Erik Karlsson, also, I'd go for it.
He has a very Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. Like, the dirtier he is, the better looking he is.
Can we, when this season is over for y'all, do you want to play NHL Smash or Pass, where you just show me players and I'll tell you if I fucked them or not?
Of course.
Look, I just did that with Simpsons characters, and it got messy fast because, look, I found out my number of smashes was really high.
Ooh, another submission, Roman Josi.
Ooh, you know what? That's going to be my pick because all of mine were biased. I was going to say Carey Price, Josh Anderson, Ben Sherrod.
Carey Price is very attractive. I wouldn't pick him because he married and has children.
Right.
I think if we're taking that out, yeah, maybe Carey Price. Yes. There's a very funny picture of him from like, I can't remember what tournament they had him all over Toronto, but his eyes are hollow and dead inside. And I was like, Carey, just very funny. I don't know why you'd seen some shit in that photo. But yeah,
was
Carey
it the
Price,
World Cup?
Like, obviously very attractive. I just don't think of him now that he has like children.
Right. But
I
yeah, no,
if we're just
looking
I don't want to ruin his life by being amazing. Now if we're talking who would I sleep with just to like truly be a fucking piece of shit, y'all know the answer. Y'all know the answer to this question of who would I sleep with just so all of my friends consecutively in months were like, Alice, why did you do this? I'm so mad that you're telling me about this. Why are you, Alice, actively pursuing Brad Marchand out of hatred for all of us?
I was waiting for it. You know what though? Here, okay, I have to just say something. He does have a little bit of an energy. I get it.
He has an energy that I'm like,
but he's not an attractive
you
man.
Are giving. No. Do I think this is a fun time? Yes.
No. Yes. There's something. I don't know what it is, but there's something.
I don't think he would pay for your Uber home. I think at best case scenario, he puts you in an Uber pool and you're like, whoa, what the fuck, man? But I think it will be really funny. And I have made this joke so many times. My friend Scott is a massive Habs fan. And we have a running joke that I marry Brad Marchand, and he stands up at my wedding when they so does anyone have any reason to object? And he yells for like 100 minutes straight, just nonstop yells until he is hoarse, and only then is the priest allowed to finish the service. And honestly, that is my ideal wedding. That all my friends stand up and scream everything they're mad about, and then they sit down, and I'm like, and now I'm allowed. It's over now.
It's like an airing of grievances. But yeah, no, I would, yeah, definitely not. But I get the energy, but no.
Just for like the hate of it, you're like, it might be fun just for like the anger, the getting it out.
I'd pick a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Because I feel like if a gun to my head, I could probably bang a flame just to be like, I want to. Another joke I have
Matthew
with my
Tkachuk?
friends is if I sleep with people, I steal their energy because I'm more successful than all of my exes. So one of my friends has begged me to never sleep with the Toronto Maple Leaf, and I'm like, you can't stop me from stealing the powers of anybody via fucking them. If I want to, I shall.
I'm gonna make a list and send it to you.
I feel like if I was like,
I
feel like 22-year-old Alice could probably get through the list, but where I'm at now, probably not. I passed my prime.
Maybe just the good ones, like just the best players.
I don't think I can get those. I don't think I can pull that anymore. The best I can pull you is like the third stringers you're worried about. But the top line, I think those years where top line Alice could pull those, they're gone.
Alice can ruin Ilya Mikheyev.
Yes.
There you go.
If I could, I would for you. I know where they stay when they're in Toronto. I know where out of town teams stay. It's because a friend of mine earlier this year was like, how do I get back at my boyfriend? He loves the Leafs. I was like, oh, I know where the out of town team stay. You should fuck a Bruin. That's what I would do if I were you. That's been a goal of hers all season. And yeah.
Absolutely.
Revenge is very fun.
It is fun.
I love petty.
Petty is what makes this
circle.
whole app work. Well, I'm talking about Twitter, but also this. Pettiness is wonderful. We have to embrace it. Oh my goodness. Somebody asked about Matthew Tkachuk, Alice.
I would never. Honestly, how dare you? How dare you? First of all, gross. Second of all, gross. Third of all, I don't want HPV. Is that slander? But like, let's be real. If you fuck any player, you'll probably get HPV.
Yes, professional athletes.
I should have got the shot.
They
when
get
I was
around.
Younger. I wasn't concerned enough about. You know what? Lesson to everybody: get a vaccine when you can.
Under 3 minutes left in Coyotes Stars. The Coyotes would need to win
still tied?
for the Canadiens. Yeah, they're still tied. The Coyotes would need to win to actually force Montreal into last place, even if the Canadiens won against Florida. Yeah.
I really want to go see a game in the Coyotes' new space next year.
It only costs like $2,000 ticket. Have you seen those prices?
Yeah, they're wild because it's so
They're
tiny.
insane.
But it seems like it would be such a weird vibe. Like,
Yeah, for
even
sure.
like the Sabres are in an oddly small arena, and every time I've been to a game there, it's a vibe because it's smaller, and I feel like it feels more like the hockey of our childhoods.
Well, I
like-
don't know if Scott is still watching, but he can say in the comments his experience at a Buffalo game. It was freaking hilarious. I don't know if he's still there though.
I was at a Buffalo game not too long ago, pre-pandemic with my older brother. My older brother is bigger than me in many, many ways. He's huge compared to me. And we're both wearing Oilers jerseys. And a guy comes up and tries to fight me and really physically aggressive. And my brother froze because he was just so shocked about this guy being like,
The
I'm gonna fight this
audacity.
small woman. And I think it was the first time he was like, hey, are men aggressive to women? And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah. And he was like, he'd never seen it in real life before. But he was also just like, we were just walking away from that interaction where I just demolished this person emotionally when he got physical with me. My brother's walking away and he's being like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm a big guy, and if he wanted to actually get in a fight, he would have picked me, but he clearly picked a small person. And I was like, wow, everything you're saying hurts my feelings. But yeah, sure. Yeah, a huge guy tried to, and then the time before that, I went with my friend who's a big Canucks fan to a Canucks Sabres game, and we were at a bar afterwards, and a guy came up and was like, "Hey, are you guys Canadians?" Because he's wearing a Canucks jersey, and we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You guys didn't serve in Afghanistan," and we were like, "What the? That's not true.
It's not even true.
I got so immediately too riled up. I was like, "That's not accurate. We were there, but not in Iraq because that was a bullshit war, man." Just too political, too involved, to like a hold me back situation. Anyway, don't take me to games because I get in fights, I guess.
I mean, the Buffalo crowds get rowdy. I know Scott has had some trouble there as well, where people get too aggressive. But yeah, I don't know what the crowd's going to be like in Arizona, because I feel like that small arena can foster like a really crazy environment. But the prices are so high that I'm like, you're not getting college kids for $600+ a ticket. You're probably not going to sell it.
That's like Leafs money, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, like Leafs, like lower bowl. So dumb. I don't understand. I'm like, I find the whole situation super embarrassing for the NHL. Like, I think it's awful that the NHLPA isn't allowed to like grieve that decision, that they have no control over it. Personally, no bias. I swear, no bias. I think that the Arizona Coyotes should be removed from the lottery next, because I do not want Connor Bedard to go play in an arena this smaller than the shithole arena he plays in Regina.
It's also just like truly bullshit that like Quebec City doesn't have a team, Halifax doesn't have a team, Hamilton doesn't have a team, and this bullshit is allowed to happen. Like, honestly, truly, fuck the Sabres. Hamilton should have a team. They should.
Dog on Arizona, she's like, fuck you, Sabres. Just straight back to it.
Like, Hamilton deserves a team so badly. And also, look, as much as Oilers would be number one, but if there was a team that was just there to agitate the Leafs, I would fucking 100% love them so hard.
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted the whole
to Hamilton to just get drunk, so drunk on the train ride out, show up to the game obliterated, cheer for this bullshit team that's going to be garbage for so long.
Oh, I was
anytime
really
they
hoping...
win, it would be such a euphoria of being like, this is an underdog garbage team that shouldn't ever win. If New York can have two teams, surely the Greater Toronto area has like enough for two teams.
100%. I was really hoping when they built that arena in Markham that they would put like an expansion franchise or something there, and they'd just be absolute garbage to start out and then win around before the league.
Yeah.
That's what I really want, is like a new Greater Toronto area team to come up and win around before the Leafs. That's the funniest possible outcome for all of us.
It'd be too good. Just imagine the LFR Steve would have to do. Because you know that he's not getting away. Working at Sportsnet, he won't be able to cover just the Leafs anymore. He's going to have to cover this new team he doesn't give a shit about. They're going to be like, hey, Steve, you should do, like, keep your LFRs on your own YouTube channel, but we're going to need you to do, like, they're going to be called, like, what's an L name?
To Lucifer. I swear this to Lucifer. If Toronto gets a second team at any point, I will do at least one season where I do reaction videos for every single game.
Okay, we need it.
Just to be like a real piece of shit. Honestly, I will always be on the side of chaos and fuckery. And look, I think we can all agree if there was a second Toronto team, we would all immediately love them just based on the fact that they're not the Leafs, and it's really funny. Just like, I don't like the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I love the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Independent Baseball League baseball team who had the name first. They are my favorite baseball team. They constantly lose to the Barrie Baycats. Barrie is the New York Yankees of the IBL, but sometimes the Leafs are decent, and what a treat for us when they're fine. They have the worst facility in the entire league. They are kings of a dumpster, and I love them.
Arizona Dallas goes to OT, which means Vegas is eliminated. So Jack Eichel, still no playoffs. The $100 million roster in Vegas, no playoffs. You know what the lesson should be? Because all those people who were fretting about teams like weaponizing LTIR to try to make the playoffs with like these stacked rosters. Yeah, Vegas 100% did that, and look what happened. Not everybody can be the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Not everybody can be a city full of grandmas desperate to win, who have come down from Canada after a long drought of no cups and just go, I'm going to go to Florida where I have a chance to have a team love me. Florida is where every grandma who has the courage to give up on the Leafs goes.
And then they go down to Tampa and they find a team that has the exact same jersey with a different logo on it. Because they 100% flat out lifted the Leafs jersey and we're like, what if we put a Lightning?
The Tampa Bay Lightning is a team for all of our grandmothers to be like, I give up. Just let me be happy now. You want to know a really messed up story about my life? A true story. Honestly,
Always.
This is a messed up story. But if one of my brothers had been good at hockey, we'd have been amazing lore. My parents, my grandparents, one of them was Protestant, one of them was Catholic. And so when they got married, it was kind of a scandal at the time they got married. So they could no longer go to football matches together because, you know, Rangers Celtic, pretty big Catholic Protestant divide. So they got really into hockey in Scotland. They fell in love with a team called the Paisley Pirates, and when they decided to immigrate, they decided to go to where the best hockey team in the world was. And then that team proceeded to never win again. Now, if those people had had a son who had been good at hockey, that would have been great lore. If even their son had a son. My parents had 3 brothers, and they desperately wanted one of them to be good at hockey. Because imagine the lore of like, this kid came for the greatest hockey team in the world, and then they suck shit there for like 40 years. But then this kid came and was a savior. No, my brothers, all too short. Except for Tommy, it's not really his fault because he was just a December baby. So he plays amateur hockey down in Australia on the side of being a doctor. But imagine one of my brothers had grown up to play hockey and it was like, and I will bring the cup back to Toronto. That'd be a hype story that we'd all be like, that's a good lore. But instead, they all suck shit. So sorry, Toronto. My family cursed you?
I mean,
but
thank
you
to the family.
If my grandfather hadn't immigrated here, my dad wouldn't have been here and he wouldn't have met my mom. So I only exist because of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Is the fucked up part of my life. It's the only reason I exist. And yet I hate them.
Oh, man. We've been asked off topic, but can we talk about how shitty Peter DeBoer is? I mean, good point by Scott that he got outcoached by Dom Ducharme in the playoffs last year. That's pretty bad. But also, I mean, he pissed off his goalie enough while the goalie was injured that the goalie just pieced out and was like, I'm getting season-ending surgery now in a playoff race.
We love petty. We love petty and messy.
Yeah, and Robin Leonard is definitely both of those.
I feel like if Bettman was better at his job, he would know that like part of what makes a sport good is like the drama. Because I feel like he like doesn't enjoy, like he's like, I want everything to go exactly correctly, but then also not in a not fun way. And I'm like, no, you should really want players to be a bit messier. So there's a bit more of a who is a hero, who is a villain drama to this. Like the way we feel in other sports.
Oh, the Coyotes just won. Travis Boyd scores in overtime. The Montreal Canadiens finish 32nd. The first team in NHL history to finish 32nd.
Can I say, I feel like I gifted you guys this by being here as an Oilers fan, of being like, hello, I'm here to witness a true low. A low that you feel is a victory is an Oilers ass time.
You got it. This is the thing though, Alice. Can you join us on May 10th for the lottery so that you can give us that Oilers luck?
Yeah. Honestly, if you want my vibe of being a lottery fucking mess, you bet. I will show up. If you guys want to, like, look, if you want, I'll come to Montreal just to get messy about it. Like, let's go.
That'd be so good.
Oh my god, that'd be so much fun.
I was genuinely, like, a friend of mine drove up to Montreal for playoffs last year and didn't tell me until he was in Montreal. I was like, I would have come. Like, why didn't you? I would have. He's like, oh yeah, it would have been cool to have a girl in this mix. I'm like, yeah, it's weird that you don't have any women in your whole crew. I would have loved to have been a messy bitch who loves drama. It's my favorite thing. I love brunch in Montreal. It's the best brunch city I know. Come on.
It's true.
It's a good brunch place. And I like if oh my gosh, this year might be regular. Can I go to Just Relax Festival this year and get messed up? Because that's my favorite thing. This would be a true
coming back July 13th.
the amount of times I've been a horrific mess at JFL, as evidenced by Victor on my wall behind me. Oh my god, what a festival, y'all.
You should absolutely come for that though.
Oh, y'all, what a time. One time I was in La Belle Provence at like 2 a.m. and the guy making my poutine was like hitting on me. And in a way, he was like, because I was wearing it or something, and he was like, he was like talking shit. And he was like, he was talking something about McDavid. And we're like, oh, this is really fun. And then he just starts swearing. I was like, what? And they turned around, wasn't mad at me. Some guy had just whipped it out and was jerking off at us talking. And I was like, yeah, La Belle Provence at 2 a.m. This is 100% correct.
Is it the one down there, like near where all the JFL things are? I think
It's the one by the St. Cat's Theater.
Okay, on Saint
So
Laurent.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And then
that's
the
the
next
one.
day,
Or Saint Denis.
a car had crashed through the front window of that exact La Belle Provence. And I was
Somebody
like,
was really mad about that guy jerking off.
apparently it was only shortly after I had been there. And I was like, yeah, you know what? This is my favorite vibe of a city of all time.
Montreal
Everybody
just-
is way too messy.
Montreal's got that vibe. Like, Laura, do you remember when Lars Eller scored his 4 goals against Winnipeg and somebody threw a dildo on the ice?
Mm-hmm.
Like, on top of the hat trick, they were like, this too. And I was like,
Like,
why
yeah,
did you
and,
have that there?
Right. Like at a hockey game. Like that's the thing is like I want to know why you had the dildo at the hockey game.
It was a big
I have said
purple
this
sucker,
before,
too.
and I will say it again. If like we all know on our hearts, if our team folded, who our next team would be, and I'm like, for me, I know it would be Montreal, but because I can't be a Leafs fan. Like I legitimately tried when I moved here to love them. Like no, it's Montreal. It has a similar vibe of what if everything was too intense and a bit messy. That's the right vibe, baby. It can't be a bunch of business guys have all the good seats and there's no soul or heart because all of that belongs to the Raps and the Jays.
Plus you can't be a Canucks fan.
No.
I can never be a Canucks fan. I can't be a Flames fan. And Winnipeg is sad. And I forgot Ottawa existed. So
Montreal wins by default.
yeah, baby,
Comment here.
default, the sweetest default.
Sniff Stevens just got here and they're talking about dildos. Listen, it has a hockey context. We're talking about when
that
Lars
was
Eller
one of the
scored
few
4
things
goals.
that wasn't off topic. That was
Yeah.
on topic.
Everything is adjacent at the very least. Martin St. Louis with a great quote tonight from CJJ Duggan here in the chat says, I was joking because I've beaten all the X teams I've played for, or we've beaten all the X teams I've played for. Beat Calgary in Calgary, beat Tampa, now New York. I wish I played on more teams. I mean, I guess. I think Canadiens fans right now are kind of happy that you didn't, Marty. 'Cause there were so many people who
They
were
were
in my mentions
losing it at
every
the
day.
possibility of not coming 30. Like you were going to be 31st, not 32nd, and people were like, it was a national crisis in the province. Like,
Oh, they just need
Oh,
Canadiens
man,
need one win out of this season, right? They need that lottery win. There's like the hope that's there from Marty St. Louis and Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes, but they need that piece that actually.
And like now that you're a lottery
solidifies
win,
things.
it makes like the Jeff Petrie having a fun tear tonight actually fun because you're like, hey, maybe there's actually hope for this team next year. And I have been a fool like that at the end of the season. Players do a good thing and you're like, maybe next year won't be this. And you have this nice summer where you have hope. And then it's October and you're immediately like, what if I killed myself? That would solve this problem. I will live where you guys are and you're in the best part of this roller coaster. So enjoy it. Enjoy it so hard because it's going to be like November 15th and you're going to be like, man, you know what would be cool? A rope. Anyway, this is a smeared off ice drunk at this point, telling everybody to kill themselves. That's the best option at this point.
You're gonna get so many letters, Andrew.
I'm so sorry. I have just been on year 1 of 10 of this exact track you're on.
How jammed up would people be? Sorry.
A legitimate question here. If we win the right sweepstakes, speaking of the Montreal Canadiens, would they be excluded from the Bedard sweepstakes under the new rules? No. You can win twice in a row, but after the second time, if you win twice in a row, you are you can't go higher than second in the next one. I believe. So
I'm so glad we broke the draft. It's so good. I love being the city that did that. Especially because this has led to like chaos where we get higher draft picks than we should have, which is the funniest part of being like, we're going to fix the draft so that Edmonton does a good shit. And we're like, guess what? We're a cursed city.
I guess it's a little bit better than the New York Rangers, who got like moved up in the draft big time twice. And both the players they picked have just been absolute flops. Like Lafreniere is getting there a little bit, but Capo Caco was playing tonight. And I was like, I forgot he existed. Second overall. Like, I forgot Capo Caco existed.
Okay, but also I need you to know that I only recently found out that Sean Avery and I have the same agent as actors.
What?
As actors?
And I'm trying to figure out what to do with this information. Because I feel like I have to do something about this.
I don't know.
I don't know though.
I don't know what it could be. I feel like the only thing that I can think of that Sean Avery was doing recently was like when he was harassing street people about peeing on the sidewalk, and it's like, dude, just leave them alone.
That's amazing.
Wasn't he in something recently though? I feel like
he was in a TV show like Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself or some. Was it that?
Oh yes, something like that. It was definitely like he was in something, and I was just
he is
like,
definitely trying to be an athlete who transitions, which is really like I honestly truly have nothing but respect. Also, I was in an acting class a couple of years ago with Rich Clune, who is the captain of the Marlies. And it was a Meisner class. I don't know if you know anything about the Meisner acting method, but it's like reacting to the other person, and like in the early stages of that, women cry and men yell. And I don't know if I've ever had a truer reaction in any scene of like, oh no, this person who I've seen beat the shit out of people is mad at me. I have to change what's going on in this. I need this person to like me harder than I've ever, like, you can tell by my whole energy. My whole vibe is I need everyone to like me so bad all the time, or I'm going to fucking melt down because I'm a dead clown on the inside. So anybody disliking me, let alone a man who I've seen just he's too powerful. Anyway, the greatest acting partner I've ever had, Rich Clune. I love him. What a prince of men.
I've heard good things about Rich Clune, and also that he is absolutely jacked.
I have no mean things to say about him. He is a prince. I never wanted to be mad at me in an acting class. I was like, this person can't be mad at me. He can't be mad at me. I need this person to like me more than I've ever needed love in my whole life. But he's a prince and I love him so much.
Oh my God. Mark Carvalho is trying to light things on fire here. Says, how much does Alice hate Matt Tkachuk? If you could get the Oilers to go back and draft him instead of Puljujarvi, would you do it?
I love Jesse Puljujarvi so much. Even if he never has higher numbers, I feel like the positive energy he has brought in dark moments is worth more to me. Also, I have a strong no fuckboys policy. So
She says after talking about Brad Marchand.
yo, there are fuckboys and then there are fuck kings. I don't know what to tell you, Andrew.
I mean, Matty Tkachuk, 102 points this year.
I don't care. Like, he's a
41
fuck boy.
goals.
Like,
He also does not wash his face.
He doesn't?
He
Is that
does
a
not.
thing?
Have you seen his
He's
face?
also-
He needs
he's
to,
a turtle. Honestly, I have look as someone who gets up every day of the week to go kickboxing. I have no respect for anyone who doesn't answer the bell. I am ready to answer the bell. The only this is a horrible story, but one time I got jumped in an alley and a guy like tried to do a horrible thing to me, and I busted that dude's nose because you know what? I answered the goddamn bell. I have
Yes.
zero respect for someone whose job is to answer the bell who doesn't.
Is that
Yeah,
before or after you started taking kickboxing?
That was before.
Oh,
This
wow.
was like I
You
was
got
like,
lucky then.
I only knew like basic weird backroom fight things I learned from living in Red Deer, Alberta. And I was like, oh, what do I do? I punched this guy, he ran off because he didn't expect it, and then I didn't know what to do. So I just yelled, "You're a coward and you're gonna die alone," because no women could ever love any coward. This is a true thing I yelled. It is in a court record because when he got caught and he like pled out, like I was one of the women's like, I very specifically remember this girl took her shoe off and whipped it at me and yelled that I was a coward. And I was like, that was me.
Yes.
I'm
Was he
the
trying to
woman
play
who
for
hit you in
sympathy?
the face and called you a coward. I'm the woman who got attacked and yelled, "Why don't you come back here and fight me like a man?"
Oh, God.
Oh,
Because
be
I've
sore
lived in
tomorrow.
Red Deer too much for a person to live in Red Deer.
Oh my God. All right. We could keep going, but let's wrap it up there because we've gone a long time and I don't want to keep you guys forever. I really appreciate you both coming on here tonight.
What a delight! I hope any of this was what anybody in chat wanted.
I think so. People have kept with us the whole time. It's been over an hour. We've done pretty decent. So
I really enjoyed it.
yeah, I had fun.
I had a great time.
I promised it would be unruly chaos tonight. It's the second last game of the season. I want to have fun. On Friday night, Laura's going to be back on with me. We're going to put a nice little bow on the season, talk about all the things that we learned, and maybe talk about the common thing that's going around Canadiens media right now. Should Shea Weber have been at the Guy Lafleur Memorial game? Figured it wasn't the thing to talk about this one. We're having too much fun. But I want to thank you both
during
for
the draft. If Laura and I play NHL Smash Your Pass, is that
Yes.
a way to pass time between draft
Yes.
picks?
100%. We should do that.
No, 100%. I'm down.
I will, if you want more comedians to come, I will bring you my weirdest comedian friends that I have
Well,
come and do my upsetting streams that I do.
I guess should I throw out an announcement? We are planning. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually say this. I will be coy about it. SDPN is planning something in Montreal for the draft. So it's possible that we will be able to do something very cool. And yeah, I don't know if I can say much more than that.
I am already dangerously close to coming to Montreal to visit a friend. So
Do
we should
it.
talk
No,
about
do it. Make sure it's the
post-stream.
draft. Do it for sure.
Let's do it. All right. Before we close things out, Laura and then Alice, where can people find you?
If you're looking for me on Twitter, you can find me at The Active Stick, but listen to our podcast. It's Locked On Canadiens, 5 days a week, even through the off season. We're going to be producing content with Scott Matla, who I think is still in the comments. Locked On Canadiens. Find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube.
And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Alice_Moran. And at some point very soon, you'll be able to see me in my very first ever starring role in a feature film. And it's called Paige Darcy. And I'm going to play a drunk Nancy Drew who hates herself.
every time you describe it, I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard of.
I went on my first location scout for the movie today, and I'm not allowed to say also who I know is in the cast, and already I am pulling too many favors, and it's good. It's really good.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. And if you're in Canada, go to CBC Gem and check out Decoys, where Alice plays a giant nerd, and it's amazing. And it's such a Canadian
if you ever
show.
want to see a project where the makeup team was like, let's make this woman look as busted as hell. Holy hell, I look busted. It's good.
It's such a good show, and it's such a quick watch too. It's just like mini episodes. You will love it. It's wild. All right, thanks so much.
I don't think I say any of the lines that were written. Honestly, I'm pretty sure there were lines that were written in that show. They were like, "Let's just do what you want." And I'm like, "Here's what I know about ducks." So they're like, "What's happening? Why is this woman doing this?" Eric.
Perfect. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We've got one more left this season, coming to you on Friday.